a swinging target with the cow hanging under it. And then the planet in the back, there's a whole mirrored back panel. So it's just half a planet, but it looks like a whole planet with the mirror.
Correct. And then the final version, we added a few more VUCs and some locking mechanisms to this.
We added, yeah, when it got to American, they added a lot more stuff to it.
We went a little crazy. Next, Ryan.
There's just another close-up of the play field.
This is when we had the tank on there.
Yeah, this is when we finally decided to add the tank and the 5 targets in front of the tank. The way it plays is I took the play mechanic from Buck Hunter, the video game. If you've ever played that, I had that in my office for a while, and I kept coming back to that game because I wanted to kill every animal with a headshot, and that was very difficult to do. You could hit some in the head, but then you would hit some in the arm and some in the legs, and so it was a difficult thing to do. So that's the way this plays. If you hit the red lit target, that kills the tank right away.
Instant kill.
If you hit any one of the other targets, that wounds the tank and you got to shoot it again. So really skilled players are going to try to shoot the red target all the time, and if you kill like 5 tanks with 1 shot, that leads to a super wizard mode.
So we had a swinging cow then.
Of the cows and the UFO. Okay. Brian?
Huh?
What?
What about a cow?
Huh?
Well, just because we went into utter madness over this game.
Oh.
Nope.
Thanks for the memories.
Oh,
Boy, I'm gonna.
here's where the tank became more developed.
Yes. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. And then
Free 3D file.
yeah, so this was where we were developing the mechanism for the robot to jump out of the tank after you blew up the tank.
It was 4 months after Dennis started working at American. He goes, I got a game that Paul and I worked on, and I got to bring it in for you to take a look at. And this is, he sat down, and he showed me this thing, and I said, okay, well, let's get it into American and let's start playing it. And I'm going to tell you, it was playing smooth, sweet, and fast, and I wanted to keep playing it. So I knew there was something here. Go ahead, Ryan, next one. Me or him? Both, okay.
Me or him?
Both. Sorry, I'll talk like this. Sorry. All right.
All right, this was our first whitewood at American. And I handmade those ramps. I make them out of acrylic, use a heat gun to make the curved sidewalls. Then I glue 1/16 inch strips of styrene in the corners to give it strength. And they play pretty nice.
Yep.
The ball won't break them. So that's a fast way to get ramps done without waiting for vacuum form ramps.
And am I right? But that was our first 3D printed ramp too, the big black one. The funny thing was, Dennis goes into one of our head electrical engineers, Mitesh, and says, okay, now put the invisible paint on it so we can see through it. And he went, huh? What do you mean? Because it's a black ramp, we wanted to see through it. But Dennis was playing with them. There it is.
Yeah, then this is with real wire forms and the real tank, and this was our last whitewood, I believe.
No.
Oh, yeah, we had a drop target between the flippers. My concern was hitting the tank, it could rocket the ball back between the 2 flippers, so I wanted something that, when the program saw the tank target hit, it would pop up this thing between 2 flippers so that you wouldn't get a ball going straight down the middle. And we eventually changed that to a round rubber post that pops up and down.
Which was the first for the industry, because as you know, most play-safe posts are plastic, so when the ball coming back, it just dead stop. But now, because it's rubber, it's kicking back halfway up the playfield, and it's giving you a nice ball action.
So there's not a lot of concern for balls going straight down the middle because this will pop up and save you. Although as you progress further, as you progress further in the game, it's used less and less. It
Right.
becomes more
back
dangerous to
one.
shoot the tank. And then, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say this. There was one other thing that, if you notice, you can kind of see it, the three stand-up targets to the right and the three stand-up targets to the left. It looks a little wider. We actually played with 2 3-bank drop targets in there. So, you know, we were looking at some real fun. So it would have been a set of 3 drop targets there, 3 drop targets on the other side. But, of course, the bill of material and Dennis going, I don't like this, it's not, it gets hung up, we went to the stand-ups. So, okay, go ahead, Ryan. There you go.
Then there is a part in the game where there's a fighter pilot kind of thing, and they're chasing UFOs that are trying to steal the cows, and I based those spaceships on these other 10 toys from the 50s and 60s. Next one, Ryan. And then this is what Jack, what's his name?
Bobby.
This is what Bobby came up with based on my toy. So it's got a lot of, it's not really a 50s sci-fi game. It's inspired by these colorful space toys, but it actually takes place in another galaxy at another time. So that's why I wanted the dubstep music, because I thought it sounded cool, and not a lot of people have heard it. It's a little otherworldly, so that was my thought for the dubstep music. I read on Pinside that a lot of people aren't thrilled with it, so we'll see what happens.
Well, one thing I want to say is, can anybody tell me what Namdron is? This is the Namdron galaxy. Does anybody understand what that means? Huh? Very good, Nordman backwards. Yeah. Well, we thought Nordman was going backwards with this game. No, just kidding. Next.
That's it.
That's it? Ryan, do you hit? Oh.
Oh, the first game in history to have a twerking cow.
Yes, a twerking cow. There you go, guys.
So there's a mode in the game called Cowabongo Multiball, and it's played to the tune of, I don't know if you know the tune from the 60s, Bongo Rock, but we wrote something very similar to that. So we have a dancing cow multiball.
Dennis, it's not a mode, it's an a la mode.
A la mode. Ryan, do we have any other pictures? You have nothing else? Huh? Okay. Oh, yes, Christopher.
Chris just couldn't stop himself from drawing stuff related to this game, and he just was going on and on and on and on, and he'll probably talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, we can talk to Chris for a minute. It's funny, Jack Hager calls me up and goes, okay, where's Chris's off switch? He's like a faucet. He just keeps gushing and gushing artwork over everything, and he won't stop. He just, Saturday Evening Post, this is gorgeous, and then I'm like, we can't use the Post, so please change it to the Saturday Evening News, so I don't want to get sued by Norman Rockwell and his family, that kind of thing. So, but, Christopher did do some beautiful artwork. So, Chris, you want to talk about anything here that you did with Saturday Evening Post?
I don't know. I was just coming up with things that would inspire the team, because there was still a lot to do when I came on board, and they were doing a lot of video work, and I was talking to David, and I said, wouldn't it be neat if we tried to present this like this property actually existed at one time, like it was a TV show in the 50s. So I created like magazine covers, I did a TV guide, a lunchbox, like ray guns with the logo on it, and all of this stuff, and just kind of made it look like it was actually something that existed at one time, and it was all really just for fun, or propaganda to you'll see it when you visit the booth. There's these big 10-foot towers, and they have like Viewmaster slides and like all these products that never actually existed, but they kind of give a foundation to the property that just seems, to me, being a toy collector, it just makes it more fun. That's all.
And it worked. I had a distributor overseas called me and says, so is this based on a television show that was in the U.S.? during the 50s and 60s or 70s that I don't remember because it never got over here? Was it like a flop kind of thing? And they actually bit into it thinking that this whole thing actually did exist.
Yeah, I had a guy come to my table and he's like, I never saw the show. Like, when was it on? And I'm like, it wasn't.
So it did what we wanted to do. We have, call Netflix? True. You got another one? Oh yeah, the Tops
Trading cards.
trading cards. One stick. We turned that later because of licensing purposes into Pops, P-O-P-P-S. Oh yes, the whole family. It's parked in their driveway. That all we got? You don't have any videos of? Oh, good gravy. Okay.
I think
So-
maybe now we should let Jack talk about the storyline,
Jack, let's talk about the storyline a little bit. Let's talk about,
because only Jack could have come up with this storyline.
oh yeah, Jack, and there was a couple other people that helped Jack along the line, but go ahead, Jack. We'll let
Yeah,
you.
so I know I have a few familiar faces in the crowd and some former brilliant coworkers from my years at Williams Valley Midway, where I was the art director of video games there for many years and did some pinball work with Dennis and Greg now and then. I contributed to Elvira and some other original things, and then I did concept work for Stern. You may have seen Led Zeppelin. I did the concept work for that cabinet and Spider-Man Unlimited and Star Wars. When I got to see this game, my job was to take the whitewood, which was what Dennis and Paul had, and just looking at that, try and come up with a cohesive story. So this might answer a few questions that people are dying to know. Why the hell does this game have anything to do with ice cream? And this is how we got there. So I looked at the play field and saw the swinging cow on the UFO. I saw the enemy tank, and I saw the planet in the background. So the planet in the background kind of informed me that we weren't on Earth, and that the playing field really could be like an orbiting moon or something. So I thought, okay, it's a moon against some fantastic planet off in the universe. And then I thought, well, why are there cows there? And it just seemed logical to me that, well, perhaps there was some outpost that was created because this environment just so happened to be a perfect environment to raise dairy cows. Don't ask me why, that was just my logic. So that's why the cows are there. And then I thought, well, with a small outpost, then that could be a logical reasoning for why you are there. You're sent to just patrol and defend, and nothing really happens on this moon, but that's what the Galactic Tank Force does. And immediately in the game, you're supposed to feel that, oh my God, everything's just gone to hell in a handbasket. That they don't know who these alien tanks are, they don't know why they're being attacked, and that's where you start becoming more familiar with the other characters. So we came up with characters like Captain Cayenne, who mans the other tank. She's the beautiful redhead character, and I discovered her online. She was a professional cosplayer, just amazing, only 21 years old, and she knocked it out of the park. There are other things that sometimes people get confused about. Duke Moonwalker, why do you have this guy with the long hair? He was an actor that we found through one of my coworkers who auditioned for the part and was perfect instantly. I said, you gotta be cocky, you have to be arrogant, and you have to hate the guy but respect him at the same time. And he's, again, a young actor, and he just knocked it out of the park. And I looked at Dennis, I said, does the hair matter to you? Because this is the one fundamental thing you have to understand about this game. People a lot of times revolve around, well, it doesn't look like the 50s. I thought this was supposed to be a 50s game. Dennis's mantra continually to all of us was, it's my universe and anything can happen. And that became the reasoning for a lot of things. There's maybe musical choices that seem a little more modern than the period, but it doesn't matter because it's our universe, it doesn't matter. And it's supposed to be about fun, it's supposed to be about entertainment and absurdity. So it has more to do with that than anything. We're not really trying to shoehorn ourselves into literally being a 1950s movie. The other character who became Empress Anoya was former actor that I worked with at Midway for many years, Carrie Hoskins. She's has a huge following online, as she was Sonya in the Mortal Kombat series, and she became huge, and she's a remarkable actor, and I knew I could rely on her for this position. And again, she delivered these lines, snarky and mean and fun at the same time. And then Professor Plotnick is the professor of the Ice Cream Research Lab, which of course, you have to have an ice cream research lab on this moon. And he is literally the lead producer for WGN News in Chicago. And I don't know if any of you guys are from Chicago or familiar. WGN is a pretty creative and open-minded station in the mornings especially. And this guy, Jeff Hoover, is known for every time they do a comedy bit, he is the guy who produces it. So if you look up Jeff Hoover online, WGN, you will see, oh my God, this is where this guy comes from. And then the challenge of this, I promise I won't go on too much longer, the challenge of pinball is that everything we do, even if you have the greatest joke in the world, I was constantly being reminded it has to be shorter, it has to be shorter, it has to be shorter. So that's why everything is in little clips as much as possible. We also do, as you play the game back at the booth, you'll see we do what's called picture-in-picture. So the actors aren't taking up the whole screen every time. A lot of times, they'll just appear in a corner to remind you, encourage you, or to taunt you about what you're doing at the moment. So that was the logic behind the actors. We have more work to do. There's more work coming. There's some great effects and action coming, and we're really excited about it. So just thanks for the opportunity to be here and help present.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you here, Jack. You know, one of the things was when Jack came to work for American, and we're sitting there, and I think it was, we were doing Zoom calls, and I was playing around with backgrounds, and I said, you know, because you can do that, you can change your background, do space and whatnot. And I was like, Jack, you did work at Midway, you worked on Mortal Kombat with all this, you know, green screen stuff. What can we do for this? And then Jack's like, yeah, that's easy. We can do this, that, and the other thing. So all these actors came in. Clementine is from Seattle, I want to say.
Yeah.
She's out in Seattle, Washington. We flew her in. Carrie came in and Carrie and where's Mitch now? He's in
Carrie and Jeff are local. Mitch was from Chicago. He's in LA now working in the movie industry.
Yeah. So we had these guys come in, shoot on green screen, and we did all the painting and all the cool graphics in the background. What's also was really cool, and we don't have it up there, is if you look at all the controls that the people are intertwining and working with, that's controls that we found in the back of American Pinball's warehouse that was deemed to be thrown away. This was some old electronic stuff that we had for years, and we just, hey, let's put this in the game. Doesn't this look funny? And we started with a switch, was 10 switches and one glove just going click, 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 click. And we were just like, this is funny because it's like the multi-ball, you're clicking it off. And that was one of the bases that we kept going with on that.
And one last thing I'd like to say, just because I really want Steve to talk too, I just again want to reiterate how important and profound and creative Chris Franchi has been on this project. And at the very last minute, he was asked to do an alternative cabinet, which he whipped up just amazingly in short time, along with banners and stuff. And I really think the package is wonderful, cohesive, and really comes together thanks to the work of Chris Franchi.
Yes, I can't say enough about Chris. And not only that, everybody on this team. And I'll tell you, Chris doesn't, like he says, he doesn't stop. There's sometimes I wake up to his text messages at 5 o'clock in the morning because he hasn't gone to bed yet. Or then and I know sometimes I can't call him at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because he's taking his nap and powering through the rest of the days. So, I mean, Chris never stops. That's somebody else's phone, not mine, thank goodness. So, Steve, let's talk about the rules.
I don't have to say much. I'm just glad that I was able to do programming and code for this game, and also to work with two people who need proper respect and credit, Joe Schober and Casey Butler.
Absolutely.
Who did code for this game.
Which is Casey even here? Is he in the room? Casey? No?
think he's still at the booth.
He may be still at the booth.
He's probably still at the booth.
The yeoman worker that he is. I mean,
Yeah,
so
I know.
those two people definitely deserve big, proper respect for what they've done with this game. And they're not on the stage, but they should be.
Absolutely. So let me tell you something. This is a labor of love, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I love these guys. I love my whole team at American Pinball. I would love to have. I will take these guys any day over big teams because what Jack can do with 2 animators and just Chris Franchi is this. Unbelievable. I mean, you know, there's other companies out there who have this big crew of people. Jack, you know, he's working sometimes 8, 9 o'clock at night. I know Steve, Joe, and Casey. Sometimes I'm yelling at Casey at 10:30 at night to go home to his wife and go to bed, and he's usually right back there. Dennis, we see once in a while. No, I'm just kidding. He's there too with everybody else, and always yelling about something. There's another person we can't forget, of course, is our good friend, I forgot his name, Pete Petrowski. Pete Petrowski and Eureka Design. I want to thank them because they helped us with a lot of the mechs. And you think about this game, there are some crazy mechanisms in this game. One of the things that really hit us hard was how many mechanisms we have in this game. And when we sat down to do the BOM, we were like, okay, this is cool. We got to leave it in there. It's going to hurt the price, but we're going to give you the world under glass. We're going to throw more mechanisms in this thing. That tank mech in the middle with the little guy and everything, the shaker and the lighting and everything is well over, 2 mechanisms in some games. The whole swinging target was another mechanism that's just ridiculous also. Steve, you want to talk about a little bit of the code or the modes that we have?
I mean, I would rather they would just play it, but sure. The code and rules are the classic, easy to pick up, hard to master that we hope you will see. Very approachable. I mean, it's going to be easy to start the modes, challenging to finish them. A couple of multi-balls. Hopefully we get a laugh from you. Really, we just hope you'll see some of the call-outs and you'll get a chuckle. It's very funny. It was very fun to do this. I mean, thank you, Jack, for putting me in the game.
Yes.
I didn't deserve that. But
we ran out of actors, so we went and grabbed people from the factory.
Hey, it worked.
And the coding rooms, and you'll see some people. I know Martin from Pinball News has already called out some of the people that are on his website when he did the review of the game. So, hats off to, pulling a team together. This is not like I have a lot of money and a lot of people, but we were able to do some awesome stuff. And my hat's off to this entire crew of what you guys were able to do. And I'd like to ask for a round of applause for all those who worked on this game. This is not, the old saying, it must be easy. Now, I will tell you one thing. Houdini had about 1,400 videos and assets in the game. Oktoberfest, about 1,700. I think Hot Wheels was about 2,300 assets in the game. And Legends of Valhalla was around 1,400 to 1,500 assets. This game is bordering over 5,000 assets in the game. So not are we just saying that you're going to go and play this, you're going to play this for quite a few hours and probably never have the same combination of call-outs and storylines in the game. And there's an adult mode. So throw it into that and put the kids to bed and enjoy a game, okay? So, we have that too. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of the Europeans have been asking me, please let there be an adult mode. Yes, there is an adult mode, and it is quite well. And I tell you, Jack you did some great one-liners. I also have to give kudos and call-outs to a person who is not on the team anymore, and that's Josh Kugler. He did help out an awful lot with the story, with the team. So I gotta say kudos to Josh and all the hard work he was when he was with us at American. So we continue to grow. One thing I want to talk about real quick is you can see the lunch boxes up there. The one lunchbox with the thermos goes in the signature edition, which is absolutely gorgeous. And the other one doesn't have a thermos. That's the one that's going to be available through distributors or on our websites. But the one thing is that we wanted to show off, and I had this come in. So I'm going to show it off to the crew right now. Jack, you want to tell everybody what I'm going to No, Jack, don't be drinking the Jack. No, Jack, you can't be drinking that.
Sell them a thermos.
Yeah, I know. There's a thermos thing going on. But Jack, you want to tell them a little bit about what I'm going to show them over here, the lens?
What am I talking about? Oh, the back glass. Oh, the special back glass. Oh my God. If you want to have a not past life regression, but a life regression back to your childhood, this is it. It's a lenticular version of the back glass that makes you feel instantly like you're looking at a Viewmaster. Again, thanks to Chris Franchi. It has incredible depth. It's a thing of beauty. Everybody who's seen this at work, I don't know how we're going to keep these from falling off the truck. As it were, everybody at work wants one, and it's really, really special. So
Just pass it through the crowd,
so you'll
Dave.
be able to see it at the booth for the remainder of the show. It's really, really special, and makes this game just feel like a toy, you know. And it's there to have fun. Yeah, it's remarkable.
Yeah, well, these come with the signature edition, so this makes you want to get the signature edition, right? One thing I also will tell you is that Chris Franchi does an awful lot of his art in layers, which worked beautiful for this back glass. Chris, is it 22 layers that was this back glass? How many layers was this back glass?
Oh, jeez. Hundreds. It's probably 300 layers now.
300 layers, so that worked with the guy who's making this back glass, so it gives it the depth. So think about that, that's all the layers. It took many hours for the computer to put this together, and then, of course, to have this printed up. It's gorgeous. I did.
See if the camera can catch it. Can it? Oh, it does actually. It does actually.
Yeah, there you go.
Works. Good job.
Okay, so guess what, guys? I want to take some questions and answers. It's time to put the panel on the hot seat and me on the hot seat, so you guys can ask some questions that you've been wanting to know about Galactic Tank Force. I'm going to start off with one real simple, and I know it's the one that's been on everybody's mind. When is it being produced? It's on the line now. They are leaving. They are going to customers. We had produced the ones that for this show already, right? So these here, contact Fun Billiards. You can walk home with one of these today that are all here. Not the drivable one, but the rest of them, you can take those. Then at the next show that we're at later this year, at MGC next weekend. This is my life. It's going to go from one show to the next show to the next show. So I got Vegas in 3 days, and then after that, a midnight flight back to catch the Milwaukee show at MGC. So we have games at all three of these shows, and they're also being produced at the factory and shipping out. So we are moving these games now. These are not going to wait on the production line. We have 2 production lines. One right now is running Hot Wheels, which should be finished in the middle of April. And then both lines are going to do Galactic Tank Force, because I'm happy to say, with our distributors' help, we have sold a ton of games, and I believe we're just about sold out completely. So contact your distributors. If you want this game in a limited or a signature, contact your distributors as fast as possible, because time is running out quickly. Now, the nice thing is you guys get to play it. It's going to be here, it's in the showroom, but I've talked enough. Questions from the answers. Okay, the guy flies all the way from France. I gotta make sure I put him first.
Thank you, David. First of all, congratulations to you, fine gentlemen. I think you've done an amazing job. My question is the following. After playing my first few games and the look and feel of this game, I think it is the first time in a long time that there is a cohesive package in between the artwork, the animation, and what's actually on the play field. My question to you is, how much is this game a tribute to the heydays of the Bally Williams games where everything seemed to work?
Okay, I'll repeat the question. How much is this a tribute to the heydays when everything at Bally Williams meshed together?
Oh, yeah.
The cohesive of the art, I mean, listen, you got two guys up here from Bally Midway themselves, and of course they're gonna work on that, but go ahead. Jack, Dennis?
Yeah. For those that remember the name Python Angelo in this room, I actually worked with the guy, and he was a genius, and that was the vibe and the fun of Midway at the time, and I can really speak. It wasn't that fun. It was just a walk up and down the stairs between pinball and video, so we shared a lot more than you'd think, and I'd say absolutely. And again, my heart goes out to a very special, two very special guys in the room. That's right, the other guy's hiding, that I worked with at Midway. We were just commiserating and reminding ourselves of what that experience was like and the risks that we were allowed to take. And this game definitely reflects that. I mean, it's crazy. You know, who does unlicensed stuff anymore? And then to have unknown actors in it and everything. So it definitely grows out of that, and definitely grows out of, I think, what you'd call a Chicago sense of humor. There really is. And we do a lot of time, cracking wise. Yeah. Just to survive, I guess.
And Dennis, you started off like you did with all the time at Bally Midway with a story. You wrote like a little story about the game, about the characters, and what the concept is. Then gave it to Jack to create this world and to continue to, with Josh's help.
Jack really expanded on it. Well, I just had two characters, or Paul and I just had two characters, was Princess Cayenne and Duke Moonwalker. My original name for him was Duke Starwalker, but I thought that was a little too close to Star Wars. So
there's
I forget who came up with Moonwalker, but one of Paul's suggestions was Duke Dogwalker.
Which was pretty good, too. There was one other story about this, and we'll go into that at another time, that this was a part of a story that goes on a little bit deeper. Now, we have another question from the audience. Anything else you want to share, Dennis? No? Okay.
Hi guys, I played the game, it shoots brilliant, congratulations, absolutely fantastic, the artwork's amazing, the comedy in the videos was brilliant. One question, what did you take out of the game that was really hard, that you wanted to keep in, but you couldn't make it work, or was there anything that's not there that you wish that you could have made it work, or is it exactly how you would have liked it to be?
I didn't hear you.
Did we have to take anything out?
No, we added,
We
when I
added-
got
we
it to
added
American,
more.
they added a lot of stuff. When Paul and I first designed this game, our goal was to make a little simpler game that didn't look so complex like most of today's games. Most of today's games are 7 or 8 skill shots. I wanted to bring back a little bit more fun and a little bit more randomness in pinball, because pinball used to be a lot of randomness in it, and I could play a game with Steve and maybe win, but with today's games that are all skill shots, there's no chance in that. So this game has, around the pop bumpers, there's 4 stand-up targets on the left side and 4 stand-up on the right side, and you can't shoot at them, they're just random. So my thought was that if some kid is playing with his father, the kid may have a chance to win because he got all these random features.
I think
There was a bit of a compromise in that too, because you can lane change, well, not lane change, you can change which one is lit. So it's random to a point. So yes, it is random to hit those targets, but you can use your flippers to change which ones are lit. So you can use some skill to try and get that increase of scoring. So it is there.
So it is there. I know of one thing that we reduced. We talked about the 3 bank drop targets. We had took those out on both sides. I know we also cut the Air Force or the Star Force team. It was up to 12 or 9, I think it was, and 12, and then we cut them back to 6 guys, 3 girls, 3 guys. We did have a bunch of other people. We were going to put more actors and more stuff into this, but unfortunately, the time frame to do all these things was going to just push this game out even farther, so we had to cut it back. And I know that, we had a couple pilots, Blue Justice, he got cut. We had Max Senek, he got cut. And, you know, I feel bad for these guys. They were great guys, and we're going to make sure we put them in the next games because we like doing that. I mean, we did that with Jeff Teolis from Toronto, outside of Toronto, in our Legends of Valhalla game. So we like to use a lot of the pinball assets and the people there. More questions? I'm rambling. Okay, hold on. I'll go all the way back here.
Can I arm wrestle you for the back glass? And if I lose, can I have the thermos?
No. No, can't do that.
Can
Okay,
you
question
arm
over here?
wrestle us for a back box? Does it mean all of us? All of us? I think he beats you.
How complete is the software right now? How complete is the software right now, the software?
I wouldn't be foolish enough to put a percentage on that. Thank you.
Also,
Got more to add. We've got much more to add, though. We've
Okay.
got more to add.
are all 3 models going to
More
be
to
shipped
add.
at the same time, or are they going to make the upper tiers first?
Good question. I'll answer that one. So the tiers are right now, the deluxe model is not, it's just finalized for the shows that we just did. So the limiteds are going to be rolling off the line in the next couple weeks. Well, no, they'll be rolling off for the couple weeks, and then they're going to switch over to the signature edition, and then that's all the signature editions are going to roll out all at the same time, and then we're going to go back to limiteds and just continue to run both of those on both lines. So the idea on this is that we want to get the limiteds and my signatures out the door as fast as possible because I don't want to announce another game until those are in your hands because you bought those, right? They're limited. I want to make sure you enjoy them and get them there. So, question in the back. I'm going to get my steps in. Do you have a question?
From online, they want to know what your favorite pun/dad joke in the game is.
Good question. Jack, what's your favorite pun or dad joke in the game?
Real quick one, Professor Plotnick says, he's talking on the phone and it's an old-fashioned cord phone, and he says, what kind of dog do I have? It's a lab.
Dennis, do you have any dad jokes in that one that you remember?
If they don't know, there's a lag.
Steve, do you have any jokes in there that you like? Steve, are there any jokes in there that you like?
We can't understand you.
He also says, I'm reading a book on zero gravity and I just can't put it down.
There you go.
Question from the back of
Tough
the room.
crowd. Okay.
First of all, thank you for putting in things that are easier for young people to play, right? Because we bring those younger people in to the hobby. It's fantastic. So thanks for doing that. That wasn't my question. So my question is, with game design, you're on a schedule, right? Do you sort of come back and put in extra things afterwards that you couldn't quite get to in the initial release? So you have a bunch of things queued up and you're going to go ahead and slide those in on additional releases? Or do you sort of have like a fixed box and this is what the release is, that's what you're getting? Not a trick question.
Yeah, I think I understand.
Did you guys hear that?
I think I understand. You're saying, do we really schedule everything and we have a decisive list, and how do we put in that stuff, and how does all the other stuff go in? Unfortunately, I wouldn't say, it's just the nature of our team, and it is a real ragtag small group of people, and we aren't quite as obsessively structured as we should be, but that also does allow for some crazy stuff to appear, and hopefully everything gets in, and we'll continue to as we update. Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear? I see it. Okay, so one of the other questions was there anything that you were putting in and that you wish you could have had more time to develop in the game? Was there anything else that we
That
wanted to?
happens every game.
Right, there you go. Right.
Yeah, well, this one ran a little longer, but we gave you a little bit more
But
time.
everything that's in there is well developed.
Yes.
I think I could easily answer it, but I don't want to. Yeah, it's like there are things that you can ask me in private, I just feel really good about the total, And there's always things like, boy, I wish we could have done that more. And definitely, I know, is that more space Barlow? Yeah, more space Barlow. And I definitely know Chris, you know, how he did this, I have no idea, but simultaneously was working on Godfather and doing Galactic Tank Force. I mean, how opposite can you get? And I'm sure he would have loved to have devoted his life to this project. And he did. He just continues to produce amazing stuff. One last thing I have to put in this plug for my artists and animators, Jessica Durbala and Bobby Laresa. I'm not commenting on any other company, but other companies, nameless, have teams of 30 plus people doing all of this stuff. I have 2 people, and they did a remarkable job, and they've been great to work with, and I'm really proud of the work they've done.
So one of the last questions we had was, when is the merch going to be available? Keep looking at the website. Probably by April 1st, you're going to start seeing the banners, you're going to see the other stuff, the posters and so forth. We had some posters that were going to be here for the show, but somehow the FedEx truck has a giant bath of water pour on them, so they're all destroyed. Yeah, they went for a swim, so I've lost about 500 posters, which is not healthy for me. So that was fun, but we will definitely get in this merch up probably by April 1st. Keep looking at the website and their distributors. They should be having it. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to ask the team of American Pinball to join me at this game for a photo op. And then American Pinball is happy to have brought all of you ice cream for tonight. For thanking you for sitting through our presentation. In the back of the room, we're going to have a nice little ice cream cart, so we'll ask you to line up, walk up there, and you will get your ice cream. But for now, I thank you today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoy Galactic Tank Force. Ice cream! And Galactic Tank Force team, could you please join me over at the machine for a photo op? Thank you very much, folks.